Yo guys, what's up? It's your boy Farron Khalid and I'm back again with another episode of Collective Connect. Today I got my boy Aaron Bains on, and he's a web developer and he's also started a company called Built by Bains, which is a website development company. And he's also the CTO of a company called Take More Photos. This guy is so inspiring for someone his age, and I feel like he has so much value for you guys to listen to today, so really keep tuned. Aaron, why don't you introduce yourself, bro?
Yeah, man. Cheers for having me on, firstly.
No
And,
worries. I love it.
Thanks for the kind words.
It's cool, man.
So yeah,
I really tried. I was trying to like trip up on my words. We literally like practiced what to say
Yeah.
exactly before we began.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just talk about me transitioning from I've had a job and then moving on to my own business, which is Built by Bains.
Right. Cool.
And talking about the experiences I had from start to finish, really, and I guess how I transitioned to go from just like a 9 to 5, I guess, to having my own business.
Cool. When did you start your business?
So I started it a year this month in February.
Right. How you finding it?
It's good, yeah. It's only actually really transitioned to that name like from 2 months ago.
Oh really? Built by Bains?
Yeah,
Shout out.
originally it was literally just my name.
Right, cool.
And I kind of just wanted to then push it more and make it serious.
Right.
So over time I'm going to move it into, I guess, a MIDI agency.
Yeah, cool. That's really awesome, bro.
Yeah, which no one knows about yet.
Yeah, you
but
got
now-
ideas
now
for
they do,
expansion, man.
Yeah, so I definitely want to
Yeah.
expand it and get it into a bigger form than what it
Yeah.
is now.
Mm.
And then obviously Take More Photos is a photography community. Shout out to Mabdul and Nifty. Both of them guys started it.
Shout out Abdul and Nifty. Come on.
Mabdul and Nifty.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So them two guys, I've known them for like over a year now. We both share a studio together. We started that company in December, just gone, and had a really, really sick
Yeah,
feedback from it.
Yeah, I've seen the Instagram
yeah.
page for it, man. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So what's the idea behind it?
So the idea behind it is really just a community for photographers,
Right.
where we can basically show and showcase their work, which is what we started doing firstly. Then we started with these stickers, obviously, which are on the back of my...
Yeah, I'll get photos of the Take More Photos stickers.
Yeah.
They're really cool. I
I'll
like them.
definitely...
Can I have one, please?
Yeah, definitely, I'll send you some.
Yeah, you said that on live podcast.
And we
Nice.
built up the relationship with people with basically giving them stickers and stuff, and everyone loved it.
Mhm.
And then that built our name up, and then literally just before the new year, which is when we dropped our flagship product, which are the camera straps, which had a really, really good reception.
Right, that's good.
We basically sell customized camera straps with Take More Photos on them.
Right.
And obviously the name is very, very simple, and
Yeah.
obviously when people hear
Yeah,
that,
it's a really good name. It's catchy.
That's
Yeah.
a sick name. Like,
So
why do you think of that?
So tell me like how you began your journey, because you said you were working like 9 to
Yeah.
5, then you quit your job
Mhm.
and then you went straight into business.
Yeah, sure.
Explain the transition from when
Yeah.
you started your job
Yeah,
to
sure.
actually starting a
Sure,
business.
sure. Yeah, so originally I lived in a place called Leamington Spa. Shout out Leamington Spa.
Yeah, cool.
And to be honest, like, I've always wanted to work and live in the city and just have that sort of city life. I don't know, it was always something that I wanted to do. I never decided to go to university. I didn't want to take that route just because I knew, I guess, what I wanted to do. It was just basically how I got there. That was the next
Why
step.
did you decide not to go to university?
Really because I knew the kind of career path I wanted to go to, and I didn't feel that uni was the thing I needed to do to get there. And I
Right.
think with a lot of people,
So it wasn't like necessarily
nah,
practical.
like, I mean, I could have done it, and it maybe could have been cool, but like,
Right.
honestly, I know it would have been a waste of my time.
Yeah, and money. It's very
And money,
expensive.
Yeah, very expensive.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, a lot of my friends go to university, and a lot of them are enjoying it, but at the same time, there's a lot of people I know that don't enjoy it. And a lot of people are fixated on the thing of, once you finish school, once you do this, you go straight to uni, get your degree, then get a job, which is cool and all
Right,
good.
yeah,
If
then
you really
get
want
a
to
mortgage,
actually,
get a wife, then retire,
Exactly.
then die. Yeah,
And
no,
then
it's
die.
kind of like the societal
Obviously,
narrative, isn't it?
yeah, and if you're doing something like medicine and stuff like that, that's different. But I guess if you're doing, like, I don't want to actually point out any degrees that
Yeah, I mean, I
may
guess
be
something
bad,
that's
but
like,
something
I
that's
mean, not even necessarily bad. It's something
Yeah.
which can kind of be learned by yourself, and it's
Yeah.
kind of a lot more subjective
Yeah.
rather than an objective thing you have to learn.
Yeah.
Like law of medicine, for example. Like if you don't know the law off by heart, like your clients are going to
Exactly.
be screwed.
Yeah,
If
100%.
you're cutting someone's organs, trying to like fix them up, and you don't know how to do it properly.
Exactly,
You know,
that's a
high risk jobs which require high technical skills.
Perfect
so,
way to put it. So
yeah.
I didn't feel I needed to not waste my time, but just waste 3 years doing it.
Mm.
So yeah, I pretty much after my A levels moved straight to London. I applied for an internship, and then obviously got that internship, and I worked with
Where to?
a woman called Holly, business called Style Index.
Yeah, I met Holly. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
which
it's
is
kind of how we linked up.
Yeah, shout out Holly.
Shout out Holly. You're awesome.
A wicked boss, and I had a great 2 years. I was there just under 2 years.
Mm.
I learned so much, and my job there was basically to do the web design at the start of me joining, and then it kind of transitioned to different things in the job role as it was a startup, which was cool. So I met loads of people. I saw the business go from literally a blog spot, a post, to literally what it is now, which is a massive community of creatives working with really big brands and companies.
Great
Like
experience.
yeah, Gucci and Versace. So I was kind of involved in a lot in the fashion scene.
Gucci gang.
Actually, there's a lot of controversy with Gucci right now. So
Yeah, why is that?
You know what? I haven't touched upon it a lot, but I've just heard about it in the news. But I only own any Gucci stuff.
No, I was looking at Dolce & Gabbana recently. Apparently they made a campaign which was like
and Burberry the other day as well.
Yeah,
There's been a lot of things
quite
coming out.
perceived as a bit racist.
There's a lot of things coming out, but sometimes I don't really pay attention in that as much because
be about the business, man. We're not about the controversy.
But exactly. So going back to that, then we did this kind of tech stars starter thing in summer for like 3 months, where I was actually in West London.
Okay, cool. So it's like kind of an event or something like that?
No, it wasn't actually an event. It was an accelerator program, basically.
Oh, right, for startups.
And the end goal was basically to
So an accelerator program is basically like a startup program which allows your business to develop quickly, and you get advice, maybe funding.
Exactly that,
just
funding,
kind of the whole process for developing a business.
So you go from
the
planning to literally where Hollywood then pitch her idea to a bunch of massive investors,
right, cool.
Where you'll get a lot of obviously investment to the company. So that was like probably the sickest thing.
What's it called? So I can share that with the audience.
Techstars.
Yeah,
so everyone check that out.
Yeah.
Techstars was great. I met loads of people. Still speak to a few of them today. And it's just really, really insightful to see these people that are just doing a lot of stuff with people. And these people were basically helping companies like Style Index to grow their business for free, and they were helping them for free, consulting to them for free.
Style Index was the company you were doing your internship
Yeah.
Right.
So I went from an internship to a full-time job.
Okay.
And then February 2018 was when obviously we kind of just left that and then went on to the new venture, which was obviously having my own business, which is now obviously Built by Bains.
Right.
So the idea of that was obviously I always was into web design and development.
Right, cool. You like, if I could go back to like one point, was like this idea, like you did an internship and you said you had a great experience.
Yeah.
How do you think that internship shaped you as a person? Because I feel like a lot of the times you could go do internships at companies, but it's kind of like you're a T-boy or we have a quota to meet, and you don't really learn a lot, and we don't really care about your professional development. Because I was doing an internship at a company called One Young World, and it was a really cool company. I met some really awesome people and I learned a lot. But a lot of the stuff I was doing at the same time was very like work which was so like just pointless.
Yeah.
Like literally just fill in an Excel sheet, which is fine, you got to do what you got to do to help out. But it's like the amount of learning and kind of like inquiry for who I was as a person, what my strengths were, wasn't really tapped into. But that's not to say One Young World's an awesome company. They're doing amazing things, so nothing against them. But I'm just saying, like, for you as an intern and people who want to intern, what would you recommend in terms of what you look for?
So the whole idea of me doing the internship was actually I actually didn't speak about this before, but how I got that internship was I actually applied for All Saints as a design role, and at that point Holly obviously opened Style Index, so she was looking for interns. So that's actually how I got the job. But anyway, Right. So in terms of that internship, what I learned was obviously I was the first employee there, so literally it was just me, her, and her CTO at the time. So obviously I stepped into that really not knowing what I was going to do, because when you're in a startup as well, your job role does change a lot, and you kind of had to accept that. But again, that's fine, and I was happy to do that. And whether it was like you said, Excel spreadsheets, or it's something totally different to what you signed up for, it's like you're doing it to help the company anyway. And at the end of the day, it would pay off anyway. So I was kind of grateful for whatever I was doing. So the start of the internship, I guess, started off literally me pulling out fashion agencies and companies that we could list on our website in the future. And then it transitioned to be then designing parts of the site.
Right.
And for like 2-3 months work, which I was interning for, I was doing the design side of it for a long time. And then the CTO who was there then obviously knew I was into web development, so helped me a lot and taught me a lot about how I could transition myself to a web developer. And honestly, I was literally like just turned 18 then, I think it was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was pretty young then, and obviously I knew what I wanted to do, but it was kind of hard, and I didn't actually understand bits of it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously now there's I guess 3 years on, a lot's changed in terms of the web side of things, where I've learned a lot and I know a lot about it. So it was easier for me to understand it now. But back then it was kind of just a learning curve, and it just
Well, quick question, like, was it paid or was it non-paid?
So the internship at first was non-paid,
Right.
but I just got paid for travel expenses.
Cool. Yeah.
And at the time I was like, yeah, that's cool. Like, and even now, like, obviously I know definitely internships should be paid, but I do say to my friends as well, if you're doing an internship and you're not getting paid, don't be half-hearted about it, because most of the time you're going to learn a lot about it.
Yeah.
And I would say to my friends, like, yo, just do it even if it's free.
Yeah.
So like when I was 17, I did an internship in Berlin for Zalando, which was like a big fashion company.
Right.
And I worked there for 3 weeks. It wasn't long, but 3-4 weeks, but I worked there entirely free. That was literally in my break of first year of sixth form.
Right. It's great for your resume as well.
Yeah, 100%, yeah. So I've actually, before me doing Style Index as a full-time job, I did 2 internships, which obviously is Zalando and one in Coventry for a university.
Right.
Sorry, for a company that works at universities.
Cool.
That was basically going in there, redesigning and developing the whole website. Again, I didn't really have any idea what to do.
So
but
it's kind of like you got pushed into web.
Yeah, I guess I did it myself. I was like, why not just do it? So the 6 months I was there, I did the whole redesign and development. That was like the biggest learning curve of my whole career. So I'm always forever grateful for that job. So yeah, I always push it, and I'll say to my friends as well, like, if you can do an internship and learn instead of just thinking about the money first, because that will come. That will always come.
It's like kind of following like passion and learning over money.
100%.
So I feel like when you do follow passion and learning, as a natural result of it, you get better at your craft. When you get better at your craft, you can provide more value to people.
Yeah, and you got better skills. Yeah,
you got better skills. You got a better portfolio. You're just more relevant to people.
I'm thinking about
like people want to pay you.
Yeah, and there's so long left in your life where you can make so much money. Right now there should be a point where you want to actually just increase and further them skills and make them better.
Yeah, it's like the exact same with me. Like, I'm 19 right now, but my biggest priority is obviously I want to make money and save money, and I want to like focus myself and invest in the future. And
you got to be realistic as well. Everyone needs to make money.
Yeah,
yeah, 100%.
100%.
And if you're living in London, it's not it's not cheap.
You have to be practical to a certain extent, but also I feel like it's really about building up my skills and my value I can provide to the marketplace, and also kind of like what ideas and theories can I come up with that push boundaries, so that eventually when I do start up something, i.e. this podcast, it can actually be something of value to people. Yeah. So that's cool, man. And I like, how did you go on to start your business then? What was the process in terms of starting your business?
I'll be honest.
Especially as a young person. Why did you start it again?
It was just because, like, well, I wanted to make websites for people. So
how old was you when you started?
But the business, 19.
And how old are you now?
I'm about to be 21 in like 2 weeks.
Cool. That's context.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
So like, it wasn't like, oh yeah, cool, right, I'm gonna make my own business and do this. It was like, okay, so how I started was I was doing a website for someone in America. Shout out Hannon, who's my close friend of mine in Florida.
Done though.
Yeah, and he's a photographer, sick photographer, and he's like I was mentioning actually earlier, he's a sick creative, has wicked ideas.
We could get his Instagram handle put on this.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
cool,
we'll do that.
Dope.
And he's done wicked shots for people. And he came up to me, and we both basically just bounced off each other creatively. Right. He basically came up with an idea of design. And honestly, some of the stuff he told me he wanted to do, I was like, yeah, cool, we'll do it. And in my head, I was thinking, how the fuck am I meant to do that? Like, I actually don't know how to do that, but everything that's on that website now, me and him worked together, and I obviously developed it from scratch, and it is,
it's a bum
as humble as possible. It's actually a sick website.
We'll have a link to that website as well.
Definitely. It's got some really cool features in there. And he was my first, I guess he could consider my first client. And when I did that website, I got a lot of good response from it. And that's when I thought, like, yo, like, obviously now I'm not working for Style Index, and this is what I want to do. So like, let's push this and carry on going.
When did you start web designing? Was you like really young when you got into it, and was it like?
Yeah, to be honest, I always like had an idea of how to do things, but I never actually just like put the content out there or did stuff with it.
Yeah, what was you like? Was there something you was interested in first, and then you kind of like?
Yeah, it was always an interest of mine. Like, I always wanted to do it. I I guess
so it's always just been websites
yeah,
from
like,
the beginning. Okay.
when I
cool.
was
That's
17,
awesome.
18, obviously the jobs I'd done was revolved around that.
Right.
And obviously I was just, everything I've done has been self-taught, so it was just
Yeah.
courses online that I did maybe in summer or whenever I had free
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
But I never actually told anyone about it or did anything with it.
Yeah, it's
was
awesome.
only-
It's really awesome you got into your craft early because it's similar to me.
Yeah.
Man. Like I started my first business when I was 14. Been working since I was 12.
Yeah.
It's like Bill Gates, for example. He started
yeah.
coding when he was like 12.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
and he used to sneak out his house at like 3 in the morning to
mhm.
go to the only computer which he had to walk about 2 miles for to start coding
Now
in
look
the
at him.
library.
Yeah.
Now look at him.
Exactly.
Just,
So like, I always knew I was gonna do it. Again, like I said earlier, just how I was gonna do it.
right.
So yeah, once I did that first website, I was like, yeah, let's do this. So then, obviously, when I left in February, I had 2-3 months. Yeah, and I'll be honest, there was nothing for me. Like there was nothing happening job wise.
Right.
My laptop broke. Didn't have a laptop for a whole month.
That's the worst, bro.
So imagine, yeah, I've had this laptop this 3-4 months.
It's like
It's-
your whole craft
Yeah,
has
yeah,
been
yeah.
taken away in one
like I've
device.
literally had this MacBook for 3-4 a year, and literally I think it was a week after I left, the motherboard or something on it went, and
the motherboard.
it took
so
a whole
cool. The motherboard.
yeah, it took a whole month to fix.
Right.
So I was basically a month without my computer or whatever. So I was just like, yo, what the hell? What's the like? What am I doing? So I was
you just
literally
have
in
to,
London.
like, draw up ideas all day.
Yeah, but it was kind of depressing at times because it's just like, yo, like how has that happened? Just randomly like that.
Yeah.
So it was kind of put down and everything, but it was cool.
Mm.
Then I guess after then April I was kind of back to work. Yes, I'll be honest, I had a whole month where I was doing, or maybe 2, doing nothing, and just thinking about things, which was actually kind of cool just to think and what I could do in the future, how I can get clients, etc. So yeah,
it's an interesting point. You say
Yeah.
like having that space in time where you can strategize, plan, and
Yeah.
actually contemplate what you've done in the
Yeah.
past and how you're going to move
100%,
forward.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because then in April, what I did, I used that thoughts and stuff, and I made like concept websites and stuff. Just so I did concept websites for random artists, like whoever they were that came into my mind.
Mhm.
Just made redesigns of their websites.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I like the idea of like creating concept
yeah.
websites because then you can picture it out
Yeah,
to
yeah,
people
yeah.
and actually get yourself to be like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Can you
'cause-
make it for me?
'cause they
Like
were-
pitching
yeah.
to clients essentially.
Yeah, because they were nothing. They weren't going to go to the artist, so I wasn't going to get any money for them. I just designed it, and then I actually just started coding them. And obviously, when I was doing the coding side of it, I was then, okay, shit, I'm picking it all back up
Mm.
again.
You know how to
And-
code?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it hard? I bet it was quite hard to learn.
No, it wasn't. Like, the thing is, I always knew, like I said, how to do it, but there were certain bits I didn't know, or like I wasn't as confident. But
Did you-
honestly, all
yeah.
it was once I went into the process of just doing it, it just came to me, and it just happened. So that's all I can say is like just keep practicing and keep doing your thing, and then it comes.
Do you think that like coding's really important for people to learn in the
Yeah,
future? Because
100%,
like
yeah.
a lot of people say it, but why is that? Because like as like someone who's like creative
Just-
strategy, you're
yeah.
probably gonna have like coders work,
Mm.
not to be like egotistical, but coders
Yeah.
work for me
Yeah.
rather than learn the coding
Yeah,
myself
yeah,
because
yeah,
I'm more into like
yeah,
business
yeah.
strategy. Let's create something, bringing people together. But for the individual who's not necessarily into that,
Mm.
why would learning about coding be important?
It's just very interesting. Like, if you think about technology as a whole, obviously everything's revolved around that.
Right.
You know, Twitter, Instagram, all these apps are not made without a specific piece of code. And obviously, the code I do isn't a massive level or scale of code that these other guys are doing. So with obviously Instagram, basically apps are made in something called Objective-C for iOS, and for Android it's Java. So like there's loads of different types of code people can learn, and the thing is there's loads of different types of websites and courses online where you can learn these. And I just think it's important, even if you don't use it as an actual skill or just use it for a career, even if you have some sort of knowledge of it, it's just kind of important, I'd say.
Yeah, Meal's got something to say.
Which language would you say is a good place for people to start if they want to code? Like, what would you say is the easiest?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it
And
does.
language,
yeah.
like the kind of like what type of code?
Yeah. So it does depend on obviously what you want. Let's say you want to do websites, if you put it simple like that. So let's say you literally want to make websites. So you've got 3 main type of languages, which is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript.
Right.
So the 2 main being HTML, CSS. Them 2 are what makes a website. And JavaScript is also what makes a website interactive, I guess, as well. So them 3 languages are obviously what you would need to learn and have to learn to make
cool.
websites.
Okay. So
And I guess courses I can recommend are Treehouse, Team Treehouse, I think it's called, which is a cool website, which actually what I learned most of my stuff from. You've got like Skillshare as well. You probably had a Skillshare.
yeah, it's kind of like a networking platform for like people to like. Yeah, it's like online classes
Yeah,
by
yeah.
like individuals.
There's
right?
so many like online courses and classes online.
How much is it?
They're not
Skillshare?
expensive. Like Treehouse is like £20 a month, maybe.
Yeah, it's good.
Skillshare is literally probably around the same.
Yeah, what can you get with Skillshare?
Skillshare does everything. So whereas Treehouse focus a lot on web development, app development, and whatnot, Skillshare actually has everything. So it's got a marketing bit. So you should check it out yourself. Business,
cool.
marketing. If you want to learn how to flip and make videos, video editing, it's literally got everything.
Yeah.
It's kind of like lynda.com. If you had a
Cool.
Lynda.
Yeah, this is a paid promotion by Skillshare, just to say.
Yeah. I need
Get in that
I
bag,
need that discount
son.
code. Please.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, like there's so many online, and I think a lot of people get wrapped up in, oh yeah, I've got to learn that stuff, which is what I was going back to in university and stuff. You don't actually need to learn some of this stuff. Like you can actually do it yourself and just put in the hours, and you'll see.
For sure. Now you're hitting like a much more fundamental basis.
Yeah.
'Cause like just meeting you and like speaking to you in the past, I could tell you're someone who's doing what you're doing. You're on your purpose. You're just working, right?
Yeah.
You seem like you know what you're doing, right? For a young person who's trying to find themselves, maybe trying to find some meaning, or maybe is kind of lost in this haze of like doing and not doing, and kind of in the grey zone of not executing, what's the biggest piece of advice you got for them?
Honestly, it's what I say to my friends as well. My friends tell me, you just got to take these risks, man, and just do it. And I'll be honest, like I can be lazy, and I've been lazy in the past, where you just don't get shit done, or you just feel deflated or whatever for whatever reason it can be. But at the end of the day, no one's gonna do it for you. And you just got to take the risk. Like, I think, like I said, everyone goes for the normal path, which is school, university, get a degree, get a job, which is fine as well.
It's fine, yeah. I don't think anything's
But like,
particularly
if you
wrong with
actually
that.
have some passion of something and you actually want to make it into reality, you can do it.
Yeah.
Like nothing is like everything's possible.
Yeah, where do you think this stems from though? Because I feel like it's kind of like this belief in like society in general, where if you're not around people who are very like driven, it's kind of like society in general will just say, just fit in, man. It's cool. Like you could just do this, and it's like all your life you're just kind of going along with the herd, and you're just agreeing, and you become agreeable.
Yeah.
You become a weaker version of yourself. In my opinion, for a lot of people.
Agree.
And,
Yeah.
like, I mean, the idea of risk. What do you think risk is? I mean, like, what do you think of risk? What's your viewpoint on it? 'Cause a lot of people think risk is like this really big, scary thing, but
It's not like it really is. Just taking that chance and seeing what happens with it. It's like Monopoly in some sense. Like literally, like you could fail, and to be honest, the best thing is failing. Like failing is the best thing, because you fail, you're just gonna learn, and you're gonna get better and better.
Right.
You can fail 10 times, 100 times, and lose X amount of money on whatever you're doing. But at the same time, I mean, once you've gone through all them phases, there's gonna become a point where it clicks, and then something's gonna happen, whether it's a business that you're doing or something that you're working on, and you just go back and think everything was worth it.
Yeah, I guess there's so much value you can get from learning from your failures, and I feel like failure really is only the point where you decide it's failure and you stop. Because I feel like at the end of the day, if you know what you want to do and you can articulate and you can have a clear vision for what it actually is, and not just like, oh yeah, I want to build a business. No, like, I want to build a business serving this customer, providing this service, doing this with these people who are going to help me, and this is my strategy, and this is how I'm going to do it. And then you hustle your face off every day to make it happen. Eventually, I feel like things fall into
100%,
place.
100%,
I just feel like a lot of the time, I'm reading a book right now by an author called Richard Rumlett, and it's called Good Strategy, Bad Strategy, The Difference and Why It Matters. So it's a business classic, and it talks about like strategic thinking in business, but also the military and the government, and like loads of different ways in which you can apply it. But you can also apply it to your personal life. I think a lot of the time we don't really set actionable steps or concrete visions for what we want to do, why we want to do it, and how we're going to do it. So it's like the Simon Sinek Golden Circle. I feel like if you can create a project or you want to do something, figure out how and why and what, and then go for it. So at least then you have some direction, rather than like, oh yeah, I want to like pursue a passion because that's what everyone says you should do. It's like,
and going to what you said is actually similar to setting yourself goals. So I would actually do this in the past. Is if I set myself a goal, I'd just say I want to do this or make this much, for example. But the idea is you want to what I would say to people now, like if you're let's say you say, okay, today I want to write 5 goals of the year. You want to really just write down the goal that you want to do, why you want to do it, and how you're going to do it. I think there's a lot of people that would write a goal down, and let's say, for example, they say, okay, I want to make £100,000 this year, and if I ask them why, most likely they may say, yeah, just just so I have more money, or
Yeah,
just so I could
right.
just do this and that with it. But really, it boils down to like, why do you want to do it? Like, there must be a reason why you want
Yeah.
that money.
Like I guess
Whether
like
it's to like, I know,
go on.
pay credit cards off or help your family or whatever it may be. I think there should always be like a why in your goals, and also how you're gonna do that.
Yeah, I guess it's like always questioning why you're doing things as well,
Mhm.
and actually looking in your mirror and questioning your existing kind of actions and behaviors
Yeah.
and where it's stemming from. Because like, yeah, I want to earn 100 grand a year so I could buy a better car to
Yeah.
show off in front of
Yeah,
Dylan.
yeah.
But okay, yeah, you say it's showing off, but what's the deeper reason for that?
Yeah.
I just don't feel that confident in myself, and I
Mhm.
feel like the only way I could feel good about myself is by showing off, because that's what everyone else does
Yeah.
around me, because not many people are
Yeah.
grounded in themselves. So it's like, I think questioning your environment. And
Yeah,
questioning
it's
how
definitely
you're-
like,
I
yeah,
think it's a big thing. Your
and
environment.
and who you're surrounded by really does, I personally think, really does like create your future in life and how you're going to achieve them goals. Like, if you've got certain goals that you want to make 100 grand a year,
Right.
and you're hanging around with people that, you know, are literally doing nothing in their life or not achieving anything or don't have any passions or anything.
I think not even achieving anything. Have no plans.
Yeah,
to
have no
achieve
plans,
anything.
and just literally just maybe want that simple life or whatever it may be. But like, you really do want to surround yourself with people that are in that same direction as you and in that same like focus as well. Because honestly, like, that's a big difference. Like, for me, if I didn't, like, I say this to my friends, if I didn't move to London 2 years ago, I don't know where I'll be now, but like, I'm grateful for myself to move to London, obviously see the difference, and obviously the people I've met here, like my lifelong friends or whatever, and the stuff I'm doing now is just crazy. Like, even meeting you now and we're doing this
Yeah,
podcast, that wouldn't
for
have happened, you know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
and just obviously on social media, meeting each other, it's crazy how you can just build these projects and ideas and make it come to life.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I've been reading a book recently. It's called Collaborative Circles, and the idea behind the book is that when people get together with different specialisms and different ideas, but similar visions and mindsets, you can actually like create stuff which is really cool. And a lot of the time, it's just like self-affirmation. Because like,
Yeah.
when you're in an environment, right, and you got like, oh yeah, I want to do this with my life and I want to do something, but then you have your mate next door like, you're just being crazy, bro.
Yeah,
Relax. Just chill out, man. Why you being so weird for? Like, your family, like, oh, just relax, man. Why are you working all the time? But when you have people around you who encourage that, like, yeah, man, that's awesome. Keep going for it. There's just so much fuel.
Yeah, because I've had that before, and people would say like, "Oh, why are you doing this or working so much on this and that?" But a lot of people, they just won't understand where you're trying to go. So when you get that circle of friends or people that actually understand what you're trying to do and how you're gonna do it, it's good, and it's good to see people push each other. And it's the same. We're going back to Mabdul and Nifty. Obviously, these two guys having take more photos. Us three obviously having this office together, which we've only had for like, I think 3-4 months now. It's probably the best thing we've done was get an office, because we've created take more photos. We all know it's going to be a big thing. It's just a case of how we're going to execute it. And we always say to each other, like, which was one idea, was how take more photos happen, was like to just stop talking about ideas and just executing them.
Yeah, make it.
And literally, it was just like, it was a phone call, and he was like, obviously I want to do this and that, and the idea and the name obviously came from him. And then it was just like, yo, let's do it. And then I think within like a few months, we got it all ready and done just before the end of the year. And obviously, hopefully, God willing, it will go well.
Yeah, God
in the
willing,
future,
man.
yeah.
I'll add take more photos to the bottom as well,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
people
sweet,
can
yeah,
have
yeah.
a look at that, because I think that'd be quite cool.
Yeah, definitely.
What was your process like in terms of, like, because I feel like when you find more meaning in your life, there's something inside of you which you start to see things a bit more clearly. You stop, like, the outside noises of the world start to drown out a bit. Like, where did was there a point in your life where it hit, like, all right, now I know what I'm doing, now this makes sense? And sometimes there's like a process when you start things that it doesn't make sense to really like begin with, and it just feels a bit like everyone's like, oh, you shouldn't do that, that's a bit weird, like, come on, man, just chill, just get a job, just be when did it finally hit, like, I don't need to listen to you guys no more, this makes sense?
I think it was probably when I left and obviously started the business. But to be honest, I was quite lucky with friends and family close to me who supported me, so it was actually kind of easier. Where although I had people that were saying certain things, but it was more like family and friends were kind of supportive in what I was doing anyway. Especially obviously, you know, here in London, like when I was doing that, I kind of knew I had the backing and support of people, and also it was kind of easier for me to get clients and find clients that way, through word of mouth and just through the stuff I've done in the past, where I didn't have to push the business as much as I thought I needed to, which obviously I'm still doing now. But it was kind of like, for me to start off and get like specific amount of clients in like the first, let's say, few months is kind of surprising to me. It was just through like I said, literally word of mouth. And yeah, I think it was just a great way to just get more clients through that way.
What's your like tips to people who want to start up a business, especially young people?
I mean, to be honest, like, I think a lot of people are scared of just, like I said, doing it and just getting shit done and taking the risk. But the only advice I can give is just, if you've got any idea right now in your head and you're listening to this or whatever, the best thing I can say is just do it. Like, don't even have to tell anyone about it. Don't even have to ask anyone about it and ask anyone's permission about it. Just do it.
Just make it happen.
Yeah, make it happen. Like the same thing with your business that you're doing now and the things, and even your clothing design business as well.
Right, yeah.
Just stuff like that. Yeah.
Hit me up on Instagram.
Shout out Mason. Yeah, so even that was like you saying earlier to me, you started that when you were 14.
Yeah.
That's it. That's a young age to just think, well, let's start a clothing.
I lost loads of money.
Yeah,
doing
exactly.
It at the beginning. I lost like $5,000 doing it, man.
Exactly.
I got ripped off by manufacturers. Didn't really know what I was doing, but I'm so glad I did it because
Exactly,
now it's made me so less risk averse, and I feel like.
And it's all them failures that you went through, which are probably the best thing that you could have gone through. Yeah, you lost $5,000, which was a lot of money, but at the same time, it's probably the best thing that could have happened.
Yeah, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like now it's set me up with a mindset that like I'm young, I'm risk aggressive. I want to be risk.
Yeah. So like, look, you were 14 when you started that, so there's no stopping anyone that's 20, 19, whatever age they are, even 30, starting their business.
Exactly. Like I was dealing with like a lot of older people, like dealing with people in the industry at like 14, and like if I could do it at that age, you can do it at 21. And I feel like a lot of the times it's like, just like you don't necessarily have to have this like massive self-confidence
and it's a lot of like a lot of people want to get a lot of reassurance and approval from people, and like, yo, is this good, should I do this? But really, like, at the end, I'll be honest, no one's actually gonna care.
No
one really is
no
gonna
one
give
gives
a
shit, man. I'm making this podcast right now, like nobody gives a fuck. You could get
literally me.
It's down to me to just keep making shit, and
it could just be me and you listening to this back whenever this goes out live. But at the end of the day, you're doing it for you, and so like no one's gonna. You just got to do it, literally.
That's it.
That's what I learned. Like a lot of people told me that, and that's one thing.
That's it, bro. Go on, Mel. Hit him up.
So you spoke about essentially an amount of fear that people have for that kind of stops them from taking the action to take the big step of making a big decision to start a company. I'm sure you have those same fears yourself. So I was wondering if you had any idea where those fears came from, and also how do you combat those fears within yourself?
Good question. I like that.
Good question.
Can you turn down my mic? It's so fucking loud, man. My ears are about to pop.
So I think sorry, the question was about fears, wasn't it? Yeah, so it's literally just, again, I think actually I'm probably although I was speaking about it now, getting approval and stuff, at that time it was kind of like, if I do this thing, will people like it, or will they fuck with the content and stuff like that? So I think that was one fear. And then how I literally overcome it was literally just thinking, like, again, no one really gives a shit, like, whatever you do, whether it's big, obviously it depends on what you're doing, but at the end of the day, you're doing it for you and you're doing it for yourself and obviously your career, whatever you want to do. So at the end of the day, whatever you're going to put out, you're going to, as long as you're proud of it and you're happy with it, then nothing else really should matter.
It's like you can only do your best.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? And I feel like you can do your best, and by doing your best, you can do really good.
Yeah, and you'll be surprised because when you put that project out or whatever it is, people actually will like be like, yo, this is actually sick. And that will actually push you more. And then you'll actually, that fear of people will care, then you won't bother, you just keep doing the same thing.
I think I'm going to redefine self-confidence and self-belief now. I think self-belief is doing your best and putting it out.
Yeah.
And 99% of the time, I swear on God, if you really do your best, and this is not bullshit, this means you wake up early, you hustle, you research, come up with a concept, you make something in whichever capacity, in whichever industry, or whatever you do, and then you put it out, 90% of the time, people are going to like it. If you don't like it first time, great, make it second time, third time, you'll learn, and you'll just get better, and then before you know it, you'll be very valuable, people will like you. And I just think, just people are just so risk adverse. And it's like, where it stems from is such a petty place. Because really, at the end of the day, I feel like we are all in this alone. Like I'm with you right now, and I'm talking with
Yeah,
you, and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
amazing talking with you, bro. You're helping
Yeah, likewise.
myself, but it's just me.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
as I'm talking to you, it's just me
yeah,
experiencing this
yeah.
all. Experience is individual. Do
100%.
you know what I mean? And it's just like understanding that at the end of the day, it's only you in this individual experience.
Yeah.
So what the hell do you want?
Yeah.
What kind of
Like,
life do you want?
no-
What do you
no-
want to experience? What
And
do you
no
want?
one else is gonna help you at the start. Like you literally got to do it for yourself
Exactly.
until you build that, I guess, like community or stuff like
Yeah,
that.
and nobody could tell what's best for you
Yeah,
besides
yeah,
you,
yeah,
because
yeah.
you're the only one experiencing it. Do you know
And
what
you're
I
the
mean?
only one that wants to do this certain thing. So
Yeah, and sometimes people got good advice. Let's not take that for
yeah,
granted.
yeah,
Like,
100%.
some
Yeah.
advice, like
I've got
yeah,
wicked advice from people, and that's helped me.
exactly. Yeah, mate, I get advice every single
Yeah,
day,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
right now, I'm sitting with you, and you're giving me
Yeah.
advice as it is, and I'm open to taking it. I just think there's a balance between taking advice
Mhm.
and being too alone.
Yeah,
I think just striking the balance between the two, but then having like your own fortitude and strength in your own kind of experience and belief
Yeah.
on what you want, and then like if people don't like it, so what? Fuck
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Like like if your mum right now and you're listening, your mum's like, oh, darling, you shouldn't start that, or darling, you shouldn't become a hairdresser. You should go and become a pediatric nurse. I don't know.
yeah,
like,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
be a hairdresser
Yeah,
if that's
yeah,
what you
yeah.
want to do. Do you know
Yeah,
why?
yeah,
Because when people are passionate about what they do, they'll do such a
So
better
much,
job.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Such a better job. They'll do so much better than everyone
Yeah.
else because they want to learn. Like in business studies, right? When I was in school, I started off in year 10. Shout out Miss Ozturk. She came on my last podcast. I actually mentioned her, so you got shout out twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's cool. Basically, I started off, man, and like I was in year 10, and I was like a C student. I didn't do that well, but I really enjoyed it, man. And like
Mhm.
I just kept learning, and like in my A levels, in the end, I got an A star. You know, and like
Yeah, well,
transitioning from
yeah.
that to like an A star at A
Yeah.
levels is like a big transition. Do you know what I mean? But it's because I was passionate and I was keep willing to learn and just
Yeah.
try, and I enjoyed it. Yeah, man. So I think we should probably be wrapping this up around
Yeah,
now.
sweet, yeah.
But I mean, before we leave our audience, what do you want to leave with them? Something of
Um,
true value
Wait,
for a young
one more thing I want to
Go
talk
on,
about
go on.
actually quickly is what we went about earlier, which is traveling.
Oh,
which
right.
is just
yes.
one more
This
thing I
is
wanted
good.
to touch
This-
upon.
Let's touch on this.
Yeah,
This was
yeah.
cool. We were talking about
So obviously,
solo traveling.
yeah,
right?
yeah, solo traveling and just traveling in general, I guess, because obviously when I left my job, I never actually intended to travel. It just happened.
Right.
But obviously when it happened, when I was going to these places, it was like, yo, this is sick. Like,
Where did you go?
so last year I went LA, New York, Milan, Japan.
Oh my
for
god,
like-
that's so
yeah.
cool.
Japan was like for a month, which is sick. So I stayed in Tokyo, and then like a couple of other places I can't remember. I think towards the end it was like a couple places in Europe. But my main trip was Japan, which is like one of my favorite places in the world. So I've got family in there. So I stayed with them for like 2 weeks, and I was in Tokyo by myself for like 4 weeks. So just
You got family in Japan?
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, so they moved to Japan, so I was just kind of there. I'll see them, and then kind of just go to Tokyo.
Right.
And yeah, I just literally was there on my own. Met some cool people, photographers and whatever. And yeah, just wanted to touch upon solo traveling and just how good it can be just to like literally travel by yourself. Whether like I think it's hard for some people because a lot of people don't like their own company.
Right.
I've heard it before personally from other people. But for me, I think it's cool anyway to just go. It doesn't have to be anywhere expensive or anywhere like a longer. It can literally be somewhere like I went recently just before Christmas to Nice and Monaco for 2 weeks. No, actually for a week. Sorry. So it could be anywhere, but just solo traveling is just cool to just reflect on yourself in it and just like for me when I was in Japan, actually that's when I made the transition of the business name and basically did everything in Japan. So
Yeah.
I moved the whole name to what it is now, and I just
How do you feel like it shaped you as a person?
I don't know. It's a different feeling. Something I can't explain, but it's just like it was just something that opened me up like to way more experiences and stuff.
Right.
It just made me think that you can do anything that you want to do.
How much value do you place on experience?
Loads, like a lot.
Right. And do
Yeah.
you think people like avoid experience a lot, or sometimes?
Yeah. I
Or
kind of
like maybe they go for like the wrong type of
yeah,
experience.
that's it. Yeah, it's a wrong type of experience, and a lot of people again risk averse, so they don't want to do certain things.
Right.
Where I think I would say to everyone, if you can and if you can do it, travel. Whether it's on your own, and don't get me wrong, traveling with your mates and stuff is sick as well because I love that. So obviously me, Mabdul and Nifty, we went just this year alone. January we've been to Paris and Sweden. So we went Paris for Fashion Week. Where we're doing some work with Daily Paper, shout out Daily Paper, and then in Sweden we were just there, me and a few guys, and just basically just had a couple of meetings and just chilling in Sweden.
Right.
So like just these small trips are really cool.
Yeah, man, it just does a lot for your mind.
It's just
man.
wicked,
And I
yeah.
feel like when you come back from these types of trips, you come back feeling so much more focused
Yeah,
and
it's-
refreshed.
And even when you're there, like when I was in Japan, I was focused. Like
Yeah, Japan's
there-
massive, bro.
bro,
Like, Tokyo is like
yeah,
10
yeah.
times bigger than London.
Tokyo is wicked,
I googled
like-
that the other day. I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh my god, shit.
I was there for like a month in Tokyo, and obviously I got to see like literally all of it. But like at the times when I wasn't just out and just doing the touristy things,
Yeah.
I was working on my business. So obviously when I moved to transition the name and stuff like that, and then I worked on like how I could gain more clients a bit, and I got like a big client out there, which was cool. So it was just a big like eye opener to think like, yo, this something I should do at least every year, like at least once or twice a year. I'm gonna just go away wherever it will be on my own.
Right.
Whether it's literally again in Japan or whether it's somewhere in Europe or wherever, it's just something that you should do because it's just definitely worth it.
How would one go about actually doing that? Like solo traveling? What
Honestly,
kind of
yeah,
things can they do to actually make it happen? And like, forget the whole mindset thing.
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, obviously that's a very
Yeah,
big
yeah,
part
yeah.
of it as well. But I mean, like, practically, how can you actually solo travel? Because it's like, it's quite, you got to be economical as well. Obviously, you're
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
business owner, so you must have like
yeah.
lots of money. Obviously, you need to invest in the
Yeah,
business.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
the most
yeah,
important
yeah.
thing. But like,
Yeah.
you know, for a young student, let's say.
Yeah, I think really, like I was saying, it doesn't have to be anywhere expensive. Like I went to Nice and Monaco, and I think the flight was like £10-20. It was like an Uber ride for me, man. Like it's
pretty
nothing.
much. Is that cheap?
Yeah, it cost me like £10 to get to
Shit, I might
Nice.
fly out to Nice
It
this
co-
weekend, bro.
It literally cost me £10 to get to Nice, and
Leo,
then
you want to go Nice?
I went for like 4 days, and I was like, yo, this is sick. So I extended it for another 3-4 days, and it was another £10 for like the return ticket. And the Airbnbs were like 150. What? So it was like two,
There's
maybe
Hostel
3 in
World
Japan.
as well.
Yeah, and there's
Hostel
Hostel
World's
World, shout out
really
Hostel
good,
World, yeah.
You meet loads of people going
Yeah,
to
yeah,
hostels
yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
And
It's
hostels are
quite
really
decent.
good as well. And I actually haven't done that much, but I want to do that more this year if I'm doing solo traveling, because again, you meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to the question was like, with a lot of my trips, I booked them like within a week or two before I go. So it's not actually planned. I'll be honest. It's literally
It's really
like,
spontaneous.
it's like Nice and Monaco. I was doing a project and I was like just like bare stressed. So I was like, yo, I'm gonna go on holiday.
Yeah.
So it was actually Nice was
nice
booked.
idea, man.
Yeah, it was like 2-3 days before, and then I just went. So just do it, man.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be expensive.
Just
You
do
can
it, man.
definitely get cheap
Just get
cheap
the-
places.
just get
Trust
the
me.
experience, man.
Yeah,
Just live a little, man.
Yeah,
You know, just don't like let your own. You know, you should like yourself enough to live a little. And
Yeah,
get,
yeah,
out, get
yeah.
out your comfort zone.
yeah. That's it. Just
Get out
literally get out your
comfort
comfort
zone.
zone.
You know, it makes you. It just makes you so much
Yeah,
more. It just makes you more fulfilled.
yeah,
You feel more open to things.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You could tackle the world.
Any
in a
like
better way.
anyone can just go to Nice, wherever you want to go. It's
Yeah.
not actually gonna cost you that much.
Yeah.
It's just literally about you booking that flight
Yeah,
and
and I
booking
feel
that
like
place.
sometimes like
Because you can get hostels for really cheap.
yeah, I feel like sometimes we spend so much time in such a stimulated world that
Yeah.
we never really give time just for ourselves.
Yeah.
You know? And I think like spending time alone, which I've done for quite a long time in the last before I started uni, I
Yeah.
spent a lot of time alone,
Yeah,
like studying alone, reading alone,
yeah.
walking in parks by myself, looking at people, observing, looking at things, the way things are done, what people are saying, do I believe in that, don't I? Setting my own values in a sense. And like obviously you won't. It's not easy to do that. It takes
Yeah.
a long time. But like I think just having time just to contemplate and think
Yeah,
really clears up your mind. And like sometimes as young people, I think we just spend so much time just stimulated on social media, looking at other people,
yeah.
rather than just spending time for ourselves.
Bro, it's the best thing, honestly. Like, just literally doing what you want to do. You're in another country and just literally thinking about how you can get to the next step. So that's what I was doing, how I can get to the next step in the business,
Yeah.
why I can do certain things this year, and just literally clearing your mind. Because you're not, like, as much as London is sick, I love London.
Did you do anything cool whilst you're away?
What, in Japan?
Yeah, like kayaking. You know,
Well, in Japan I did loads of things. I can't really remember, but I did so much in Japan.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, when I wanted to just chill, I could just chill and just do my own thing.
Yeah.
But
did you stay at a hotel?
yeah, I had like an Airbnb in Tokyo, which was sick. It was like my own little mini apartment. But everything in Japan's like all their houses and stuff are small.
Oh really?
Um,
Just imagine like loads of fish markets. With, like,
yeah,
Japanese
the
mafia
fish markets are
with, like,
wicked. Yeah,
butcher knives.
yeah.
Hello, come here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
wicked.
like
No,
that.
literally like that. But there's like
What was it like the language barrier? Was it, like,
you know
bad?
what? It's not that bad. People have asked me this before, but you just get on with it. I guess there's certain words you pick up on in it, and then you can just say it.
Yeah. Just like
but,
hello.
yeah.
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah,
Food,
just
please.
just the standard stuff. But like they're actually honestly they're probably the most politest people you'll meet.
Yeah, no, I heard
Trust
that,
me,
man.
yeah.
I was watching a guy's YouTube channel called State, and like he lives in Japan. He's an American guy, talks about streetwear, and he was just saying Japanese people are so open and polite,
Trust me,
and like
yeah.
the streetwear there is crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
bro.
sick.
Like, people are just so.
When I was
expressionate
there,
in
if
their
you
clothes.
like, you should definitely go because obviously when you're there, the different types of clothes and designs they have is sick.
Yeah.
Like they do, yeah,
like
different.
People apparently they just like no one cares how anyone dresses.
No,
Like everyone just
honestly,
dresses
yeah.
to themselves.
You can dress in boot cut. I mean, a lot of them do dress in boot cuts.
That's
So
so
you dress in
cool.
boot cuts in
I
London,
wish,
it's
I
different.
wish the UK was like
Yeah,
this.
yeah, boot
man,
cuts
you
not in
know?
here, man.
Like imagine how creative it would help us all.
Yeah,
be.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
like, because I think sometimes like we dress so much like
Yeah.
according to what other people
Yeah,
might
yeah, that's
think,
true.
rather than just like, yeah, I really fuck with this.
Yeah.
This is fucking mad.
But I don't fuck with boot cuts.
I mean boot cut jeans.
Yeah.
Oh no, man, that's John Cena.
yeah.
2004.
But that's what I'm saying. In Japan, they rock boot cut
you
jeans.
can
man.
make it look cool though.
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
know what
I
mean?
guess
You
yeah.
can
That's what
make
they
it
do.
look cool. I mean,
Yeah.
and I feel like Japanese people and Chinese people make clothes.
Yeah,
in
they make-
Korea.
that's what I'm
They
saying,
look
yeah.
so much cooler.
I think
I don't know if it's like a
they
complete-
all wear like oversized things.
Yeah, I think it may be like a kind of body structure thing. So
Yeah.
they're quite like, they're quite lean.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
the
yeah, they are
complexion
definitely
contrasts
lean,
with
yeah.
clothes
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah.
well. And like the hair is very like straight
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
stylish rather than just like
It's
I
weird.
don't know.
It's funny and weird, but it's in a cool way.
it's
It's
a
just
cool
sick.
aesthetic thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's sick to see.
Yeah, any Korean or Chinese or girls like that listening, hit me up on Instagram at Frank Khaled. We can make this happen. All right, guys. So I'm probably gonna wrap this up right now. Anything you want to leave with the audience before you go, bro?
Check out my Instagram, Built by Bains.
Okay.
And hit me if you need a website. But nah,
what was that? What was the Instagram?
Built by Bains.
Built by Bains.
Yeah.
You want a website? Hit him up.
Yeah, and
Got any discount codes? Joking. We in the business.
no
son.
discount codes at the moment. We're trying to make money out here.
Yeah.
But
listen,
yeah, and then
he's a great website
thank
designer.
you, man,
I've seen
yeah.
his stuff. It's really awesome.
cheers,
so,
man. Yeah, I
this
got
ain't no average website designer just jumping on.
yeah, got some cool projects coming out soon. So yeah, check that out. And then
Cool.
yeah, shout out to Take More Photos
Take
as
more
well.
photos, yeah.
And
for
make sure you go get your camera strap.
Sure, and I'm sure I'll be seeing more of you in the future.
Definitely,
Whatever
likewise.
way, collaborations, making
100%,
stuff happen,
100%.
projects. All right, that's awesome. All right, guys, I hope you really enjoyed this episode. Aaron, it's been so good to
Sweet,
have you
thanks for
on,
having me, man.
I've learned a lot from you, man. I've taken away a lot. And I
Thank
hope you guys have taken away a lot as well. So remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Collective Connect. And you can also hit up our website if you want to become an ambassador, join one of our programs, potentially come on the podcast if you want. I'm pretty open to having anyone on it, really. And just get involved and connect with young people. Let's build a community. Let's make something happen. So, guys, I'm going to leave it there. That's Farron Khalid with Collective Connect and my boy Aaron Bains and Emil,
you.
the co-host, popping on every now and then, the voice of God. Anyway, guys, thank you. Take it easy. Love.